Bill Chase, we're breaking in a brand new cameraman here on the job training for Ron Brown. We're at Olympic Stadium, June 5th, 2000, for what might be the last series involving the Yankees up here at Olympic Stadium. And it's a historic night. You have the #1 manager in the American League, Joe Torre, #1 manager in the National League, Felipe Alou, and the #1 manager in the Champlain Valley Baseball League, Bill Chase, all here under the same roof.
Oh, thanks, Calvin.
Well, didn't you tell me you were the best manager in the league?
That's correct.
That's correct. Well, I thought I'd heard it somewhere, but I wasn't sure.
And what a better place to break in a new cameraman, though. Olympic Stadium.
Olympic
baseball.
Stadium, that's right. And Ron Brown, a longtime baseball fan, we'll be chatting with him in a moment or so. If you want to get some of the players, Ron, feel free to do so. When we walked out in the field, Felipe Alou was greeting Paul O'Neill, and we saw Vladimir Guerrero come over and say hello to some of the Latin players on the Yankees. Bill, I feel it would be a sad situation if what we've been reading in the paper were to happen and the Expos would close up house after this season. What are your thoughts?
Well, they need the new ballpark, right?
That's what they're hoping for, but they can't seem to get the financing.
That would be, for us that are living close by, it'd be a very sad situation for anybody, in the North Country especially, that likes to see professional baseball. We'd have to travel, what? Yankee Stadium and
6-hour drive.
Fenway Park would be the closest.
And some of us have done. And I haven't gone to Fenway, but I've gone to Yankee Stadium once or twice. I'd much rather come up here than drive all the way to New York City.
That's true. Yeah, a lot easier to get here than it is to New York City. But this ballpark is old that they're playing in, and then the times are that you got to build a new ballpark for the teams that are playing in your city.
Rumor has it that Washington, D.C. has a site all set for him. There's other places being mentioned. Some have minor league stadiums that could be adapted. Hopefully, I'm not going to believe that the Expos are moving until it becomes official and not just speculation. But unfortunately, the fans just haven't come out and voted at the turnstile. They haven't voted to keep the Expos here. And
the Expos are actually, they're almost like a farm team actually for the rest of the Major League Baseball, because they've always had some good ball players up here, and even this year is a very good indication of that. They're playing above 500, and they're a tough team in the National League East.
Well, they're challenging right now. They're still in that wild card race. Of course, it's only June yet, but they're still in that wild card race. The Yankees are trying to regroup after a bad couple of weeks. They took 2 out of 3 over the weekend against the Braves, and they're hoping to get back on a winning track. But I think the Expos have about a 5-game winning streak. Maybe Ron Brown would know for sure, but
yeah, they had a tough go. They went out on the West Coast, but since then they're back here, and I think they beat Baltimore.
They swept the Orioles over the weekend. This is a Monday, and the Expos are hot. Yankees are lukewarm, but they took 2 out of 3 from the Braves, so that's a good sign.
They're back in first place too by a game now.
Are they?
Yeah, the Red Sox got beat yesterday.
So the Yankees are back in first where they belong, Bill. And wasn't that long ago, it seems, that the strike did away with the season, but we had hopes that year of Expos and Yankees in the World Series.
Yeah, that was what, 94, I believe.
And they never came back. The fans never came back after that year. And you were here 2 years ago with us for Hometown Cable, and when the Yankees came to town, I expected to see this place filled to capacity, and it was just their usual 10,000, 15,000 people. That's all that showed up.
I think the night we came, there was only like 11 or 12,000, and the highest number that for 2 years ago was what, near 15, I think.
And that's got to be disappointing. That if the Yankees can't draw here in Montreal, then baseball in Montreal is in trouble. And this, I think, is what is putting a damper on the people digging into their pocketbooks to build that stadium. They're just afraid that they'll build it and no one will come.
Well, I see the fans are starting to come in now. It must be 5:30 or so.
Yeah, it must just a hair before 5:30, but there's always a few that sneak in early, and it gets kind of hectic around the visitors' dugout in particular when the fans come in, mainly because the Expos are usually just about done with their with their batting practice when the fans come in, and the regulars is usually the same 50 to 100 kids that are lined up there. They've got all the Expo autographs they need, probably. Anything else, Bill, that you'd like to chat about before I bring Ron Brown into the picture?
I just like to comment. The Yankees, something that you don't see, or I'm getting to see here, is they're stretching out here. It's 5:30. The game doesn't start till 7, but you know, it's normally all I get to see. You turn on the game starts, that type of thing on TV, and that'll be an experience here just to see some of the things that they go through before the game takes place.
They could sell tickets and let people warm up with them. They'd stretch along with the Yankees.
And they got them big rubber bands there. Paul O'Neill right here, he's using the rubber band.
That was Frank Thomas's hamstring that they're using. They had it surgically removed. That's what they use for the rubber band.
Actually, you know, and the other thing I've noticed is they look bigger in life on TV. I'm standing here next to them, and they're just a bunch of ordinary guys. I mean, size-wise, you know.
A bunch of guys that could easily play in Lion Mountain.
Yeah, they sure could.
All right, Ron's getting a little shaky with that camera there, so we'll let you grab it for a while, and maybe we'll chat with you again, Bill.
Okay.
Hit the off button. You're not up there.
Don't embarrass me.
I won't embarrass you. Huh? Your thumb. Right now. All right, we've wrestled Ron Brown away from that camera, and
We didn't
got
do
him.
much wrestling.
Arm getting a little sore after a little bit of holding that camera.
I just didn't realize I knew what I was doing.
Bill, over to in front of Ron and I is in the street clothes. That's Claude Raymond, who came out of St. John's sur Richelieu, Quebec, and now an announcer for the Expos and the French station. I had the pleasure of interviewing Claude in Plattsburgh when the Expo caravan came in probably February or March. Must have been early March, probably, or maybe even January. I can't remember when it came, but they came and chatted with Claude, and he's excited about the season. And at that point, Ron, we didn't know that the Expos wouldn't be on television.
He has. No, that's too bad. That really is a shame. At least they should be on radio. I used to listen to games on radio.
It's just unheard of. We have to keep following him around. Bill's going to wander away there. He's unheard of to not have a team with, well, they got the French contract, but English contract for radio, and that is just unprecedented and had to be discouraging to the owners.
It certainly must be, and it must have an effect on the crowds also. It must have a big effect on the crowds.
Yeah, I mean,
they have no exposure to the.
Yeah, it just, you know, you're driving down the road and you turn on the radio and you listen to the game.
Kids listen to the game, and they get interested, and so their parents bring them to the ball game. But, you won't see that now.
Yeah, I felt even before that it was announced that they weren't going to have the coverage, that if I were the new management, I would just about give it away just to make sure that they had television coverage, that they had radio coverage. Make sure you get that exposure, get people talking about the Expos. And that's the only way you're going to get them here at the ball game. And out of sight, out of mind.
That's true.
Now, Ron, you've been a long-time baseball fan, and have one or two items that you've saved over the years from different things.
One or two. Mostly Yankee items. I've been a Yankee fan since I can remember.
Seems like I remember 2 years ago you were up in the stands and even handed me down your camera to take a picture of
Right.
what was it? What was it name? I think of the picture there.
Andy
Pettit. Yeah.
The girl that worked for me wanted a picture of Andy Pettit. And you got that for me. I appreciated it. Maybe I can get one myself tonight.
Now, are you going to be coming up to all three games or just tonight?
I plan on coming to two.
2 of the 3?
2 of the 3. I came to 2 of the 3 3 years ago.
What are your thoughts on the fans not coming out here and supporting this club, Ron?
It's unbelievable. I realize that hockey is a sport, but I don't understand, especially this year, when they have such a good team. They really have a good young team.
They're very competitive in all the games. They're competitive and
yeah, there are no slouches, no pushovers, and the fans still don't come out. I don't know if it's management or ownership or what it is. It can't be just the lack of baseball knowledge.
I wouldn't think so. And I want to go on record right here while I got you here, Ron. We got a T-ball. Looks like they're going to play T-ball later here. So maybe there's a hope for you, Bill. You can we'll tee the ball up here and maybe you can hit one. Over the weekend, a local sports writer who always writes a very entertaining Sunday column invited fans to come down here and start gathering up souvenirs, and I'm wondering what kind of a reception. I don't know if he came up yesterday on Sunday's game, or if I'm sure he'll probably be here today. I'm wondering what kind of a reception he's going to get when he shows up here at Olympic Stadium, because I know they read the Plattsburgh paper.
I don't know, but I couldn't believe the things he said in that article, and I don't.
It was all tongue-in-cheek, but
how he dared. Dared to print that and then come up here.
Yeah, it's all right if you're anonymous and sitting home and they don't see you, but you got to come up here and face the management people the next day. It's very daring on that writer's part. If he shows up here, maybe I'll get to chat with him and ask him what he was doing, what he was thinking when he did that. I know he's always tries to be humorous and inviting people to come here and steal Andre Dawson's number out there, and
some humorous articles.
yes, is always very entertaining articles.
Quite an imagination.
Yeah. All right.
Things he said yesterday.
Very imaginative. So if you missed that was the June 4th edition of the Press Republican. Maybe you can go online and read it yourself if you happen to miss that column. We're going to get Bill's arm a rest right now and come back to you in a few minutes. That number 52 out there, that's the number of years he's been in organized baseball. When I talked to him 2 years ago, he was wearing number 50. That's Don Zimmer, and he's taking a little infield practice with the guys, and standing next to him with his back to us, it looks like, yes, it is Chris Chambliss, who has his own special moments with the bat with the Yankees for so many years, 20 years ago already. Posada's at shortstop. Got a new position for him. Well, Jeter's there too. And Brocious. I haven't seen the starting lineups yet. I imagine it's the usual suspects. Knobloch's at second. And it looks like Martinez at taking infield at first base. A couple of the Yankee broadcasters. All right, we're on, and Ron Brown, go ahead and take a picture there. We're on number 6.
Who's number 6?
Who's number 6? Well, it used to be Clete Boyer.
Okay,
Back when I became a serious Yankee fan, Clete Boyer wore number 6.
I remember that well. Could you tell him to turn around, please?
Hey, Joe, is that Frank? 50 years ago, you were telling me off camera you went to your first game. Is that true?
Yes, it was Whitey's first game.
Whitey Ford.
Whitey Ford's first game. He pitched against the St. Louis Browns. And they won 10-0.
Back in 1950.
50 or 49, I'm not sure.
49, that'd be 51 years ago.
Right. That's possible.
Well, Ford might have...
16 or 17. That's the first time I've gone to Yankee Stadium. And since then, we go 2 or 3 times a year.
Was there a lot of hype, do you recall, for Ford? Did they know they had a future star?
I don't believe so.
Just another rookie coming up?
I was too young then to know myself, but I don't think there was. But I think he won 8 or 10 games that year. This was like in, he came up in maybe end of July or first part of August. And, the rest is history.
Yeah, went on to win, I think, 236 ball games and finished with one of the lowest ERAs in baseball history, and had an outstanding Hall of Fame career. There's Joe Torre looking at you there if you want to get a shot of him. Just walk right up and stand right next to him and take his picture. He won't mind.
Do now.
All right, waiting to take his swipes is Derek Jeter. Jeter in the middle of another nice season at the moment. In 40 games, he's hitting .329 and playing another outstanding shortstop for the Yankees. A couple of the Yankees are down this year. The team batting average is a respectable .273, but some of the regulars' batting averages are a little anemic compared to what they've posted in the last few years. Jorge Posada, of course, is having another fine year. Another player having a fine year. He's got a .329 batting average with 50 games under his belt and 10 home runs up to this point. So maybe they will play him at shortstop, Bill.
Oh, just left. I'm on the air in case you're wondering. We got a knob block against Peter.
Looks like Chuck Knobloch in the cage right now.
Jim Larrett.
That's Jim Larrett. Oh yeah, you're right. That's a stance that we shouldn't get confused with. Jim Larrett's got that compact body like Knobloch, but he's got that very different stance.
Just hit it out.
That ball was out of here. How about that?
There's another home run. This is Bellinger up the bat now.
He had the game winner last night, Bill?
Yeah, yesterday afternoon.
Yesterday afternoon. Batting .220 on the year. 31 games. There's a souvenir for the fans in the cheap seats.
So are you on the air?
We're on the air, Bill.
Well, one thing to notice about Knobloch taking batting practice, he doesn't go through the antics that he normally does every time he's up to bat. Fixing the glove, that regular routine he's got for after every pitch. He's got to fix both bat and gloves and touch a certain part of his body. You don't have time to do that here.
A lot of that superstition and just routines you get into to help you concentrate. I know they talk about that with basketball. If you do certain things and and you don't worry about the crowd. You're just thinking about what you got to do to get up there and shoot that foul shot. And I'm sure a lot of the batting coaches say the same thing. Just get up there and go through a routine, get your mind concentrating on what you want it to concentrate on. Jeter's at the plate doing a little punting right now.
Yeah, there you go, you kids. See? Make you bunt during batting practice, during the Little League. Even the big guys got to do that. Derek Jeter. You got Jeter, looks like Paul O'Neill and Knobloch are going to take their turn in the batting cage here. They keep the 1, 2, 3 guys together, even during batting practice.
And the hitting instructor, Chris Chambliss, right behind there, trying to earn his keep. And Zimmer talking with Claude Raymond. A lot of history right there. Big league history right there, Bill.
With Don Zimmer?
Zimmer, Chambliss, Claude Raymond. I mean, it's baseball cards.
Chambliss, yeah, he played back in the 70s. 78, I believe he's on the team when the Yankees came back from 14.5 back on the Red Sox.
I think it was 81 where he hit that big homer to beat the Kansas City Royals. Sounds about that time, I believe.
Yeah, it could have been 81, yeah. That was, yeah, but they won, I think, 100 some games that year and then losing the World Series, didn't they, to the Dodgers?
Yeah, I think Steve Garvey and the Dodgers beat him that year.
Yeah, what was Dick Hauser? Was that his name, the coach?
That might have been the year Dick Hauser won 102 games as a manager and left the next year for Kansas City.
Yeah, they lost the World Series and Paul O'Neill.
Of course, that's nothing new. I was thinking earlier when thinking about Mel Stoudemire, the Yankee coach right now, back in his rookie year in 1964. Yogi Berra was the coach. He won the World Series, lost to the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Yankees fired Berra and hired the Cardinals manager.
Oh, okay.
So things like that happen even before George Steinbrenner got involved.
O'Neill has that where he steps with his front foot, the right leg. He picks it up, and they say that he's shifting his weight that way. When he makes contact with the ball is when he almost wants to touch the ground and make contact with the ball at the same time. Did you ever watch him, some of the home runs he hits to like left field? It almost looks like both feet are actually in the air sometimes when he's swinging the bat.
Yeah, I know, and sometimes racehorses have all 4 feet off the ground too, right?
Just the big time ones. The guy taking, or the guy that's throwing bat practice, he has to take, what, 3 or 4 steps, and the actual distance between where the ball is released at home plate is only about, what, 45 feet, I think. 45, 46 feet, maybe. Little League.
Well, it helps his control, probably. He doesn't have to throw it so hard to make it get there quicker.
No, they're just getting the swing down here, that's all. Swing and the timing.
Yep, the fans want to see this themselves. The gates open for a 7 o'clock game. They open at 5:30. Come in and you can watch the end of the Expos batting practice and the visiting team take their batting practice. We got that guy from St. Louis coming in there pretty soon. He'll be up here.
The big guy, right? I think his name's McGuire. Mark.
Yeah, I think that's his name.
Well, how come they don't let him come in to watch the Expos batting practice?
It's not so much not letting them watch it, just that I imagine just so much time you want to spend with the fans actually in the stadium. And most of the local fans have seen the Expos, and if they get here, they see the tail end of the starters taking batting practice.
Well, you talked about how you got to, I don't know, it seems kind of weird that, you know, you're talking about the Expos and relating to the fans up here in Montreal, and they seem to be more, they cater to the visiting team than they somewhat in this case, you know what I mean?
Well, I wouldn't think it'd be that unusual. I imagine if you went around, they just hit me with a ball. Think I can sue the Expos?
That was Willie Randolph.
Willie Randolph. I haven't talked to him in a long time.
He's the third base coach.
Talked with him back when he was just getting back from Japan. Maybe it was Roy Hoyt I talked to. I don't know. I had a little bit of luck back in the mid-'80s talking to quite a few of these guys.
We just got Jorge Posada walking by here. He got hit in the knee in the game, I think Saturday. He looks to be okay.
Anytime you get a catcher hitting 329, that helps. I know Martinez's numbers are down a little bit. He's hitting 267 right now with 5 homers, 28 ribbies. Bernie Williams only hitting 281, which is decent, but you come to expect 330 or better from Bernie Williams.
Yeah, you do. Well, the Yankees actually, the biggest thing carrying them has been their bullpen pitching staff. So
the starters have been a disappointment. You have to wonder if the Yankees are going to have 2 El Duques before the season is over, with that other Hernandez fellow down, just 25 years old, just snuck out of Cuba in the middle of the winter and is doing pretty good down in Florida right now.
Now, what's his
El Duquecito or something like that?
What is that? Are they related?
I don't know. The stories I read, they didn't mention that. I'm sure it's a common name, so very possible that they are not. And they just gave him a nickname that sounds like the El Duque, but could be an interesting situation if he came up before the season's over. And the way the Yankees starting pitching has been, it could very well happen.
Jeter just ripped one out in center field, folks. Bat practice here. The interesting thing about Posada, he got hurt Saturday. His replacement hit a home run to put the Yankees up 7-6. Chris Turner, I believe, is his name.
Turner's batting .375 right now, and only appeared in 7 games, but he's ripping the ball when given the opportunity.
Yeah, that's a possible thing that you might see the Yankees trade for, actually, is a backup catcher, just in case Posada getting hurt. I know I'm on the broadcast that I've watched and listened to on the radio. That's one of the things they talk about all the time.
Well, that's one position they say you can, along with pitching, but at catchers you can never have too many of them, because it's a very dangerous spot, and it's easy for a catcher to get hurt and taken out of the game, if not for months, at least for a day or two. In fact, your cousin used to be a catcher in the Yankee farm system.
Tommy Kowalski? Yeah, he did.
He's a good friend of Yankee pitching coach Mel Stottlemyre, and I'm going to try again this year. 2 years ago, I didn't have much luck in getting Stottlemyre to talk, but we'll try again this year.
Well, maybe, I'm actually Tommy Kowalski's godchild. Would that help? You told him that?
I think with the way you've turned out, yes, I think that would definitely help.
What do you mean, the way I've turned out?
That one's in the stands too, Bill.
O'Neill, yeah. Looked like he went left field and then right field.
Equal opportunity spray hitter.
Another thing to point out to the kids, these guys are just making nice contact with the ball. They're not really looking to kill it. They're just heads are down and seeing the ball well, and it's a nice swing that especially Paul O'Neill has.
O'Neill, when he came to the Yankees from the Cincinnati Reds, he had an okay career going, but he's really blossomed as a Yankee over the last several years and has put up some very nice numbers.
Yeah, he's 13 years now in the major leagues. And one of the most intense ball players, actually, probably in the major leagues.
He's taking over for Lou Piniella and destroying the water coolers and stuff.
We got a few of those guys in the CVBL. Bernie Williams is now in the cage taking batting practice. I believe probably O'Neill and Jeter and Knobloch are done. We got Posada, Martinez, and Bernie Williams gonna take turns swinging.
I'll be curious to see if Williams will just bat from one side, or if he'll take some swings from both sides. He probably concentrates on the side he plans on batting tonight, based on who the starting pitcher is for the Expos.
Yeah, you're probably correct there. After the first round, they each got to do a little jog around the base path.
do their button, make them run. Simulating, he's out. Actually, Williams, it looks like he's going to simulate going to second type of thing. There goes Williams going to second base. Larritz is out there on second, taking some infield. Bellinger's probably over there at third now. Williams now on his way to, and they tagged him out.
Tagged him out? Uh-oh. Out, going to third. He's going to score on that one, I think.
Have you taken a picture of the blue skies yet?
Hey, no.
Permanent blue sky up here in Montreal now. Last time I was up here, they didn't have that. Is that so-called roof?
Well, it's been a couple of years, Bill, so you aren't up here supporting the Expos either, are you?
Nope. I'm running around with Little League, and now I'm involved with the minors on Sunday. Who has time?
I think there's too much of that. Who's got time going around? And it's only, once you get by that border, less than an hour you're here right in the parking lot walking in. So it's not that hard to get here.
Right, yeah, well, yeah, that's what it took us, about an hour from the border. So from Lime Mountain, you got to tack on another 45 minutes from Champlain to Lime Mountain. And that's on good roads in the winter, or I mean in the summertime.
Very rarely are they icy, although it could have happened last night with the 31-degree temperature in Lime Mountain.
Yeah, it was cold this morning. Bet you these guys are saying a little bit different temperature than what they experienced. It was what, 80s, 90s in Atlanta, I believe, over the weekend. They come up here, it's in the 60s, low 70s.
Scott Brocious here waiting on his turn now, back in front of us here. You know, I really feel, Bill, you know, I don't know how much of a sports history buff you are, but when I was a